Hey everyone, my name is Jonas Probst, and I want to welcome you all to the first official episode of my brand new podcast titled Greater Than Me. What's going to make this podcast so special is its versatility. Although this will be a Christian or faith-based podcast, that's not going to stop me from talking about different sports topics, mental health topics, life topics, and if I feel led or inspired to do so, I may throw in a couple of food reviews in there as well if I really feel that hungry. In this podcast, I plan on bringing in multiple different people from multiple different walks of life, and I truly hope that I could utilize this podcast and my platform to inspire you all, and I hope that I can truly make some good content that puts a smile on each of y'all's faces. I hope you all like this video, and I hope you all subscribe to this podcast, and please let me know in the comments what you all think of this first official episode. And without further ado, I want to welcome my first guest onto this show today. He is a content creator. He has over 100,000 combined followers on both YouTube and TikTok. His name is Caleb Probst, but most of y'all may know him as CP the Doc. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Jonas. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I think it's only fitting that I'm one of the first guests on your show, considering that I was one of the first friends you ever had in your life. In case you guys didn't know, we're brothers. We go back a long way. We've had each other's backs for a long time, and I feel like a big part of that is me coming in and just talking to the people today on your show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. I'm glad you were able to stop by. So just so my viewers and my audience get to know you a little bit more, expand a little bit more about yourself. Like, what do you do?
Well, I think you already did a pretty good job introducing me. My name is Caleb Probst, but a lot of the people who watch me on TikTok and YouTube definitely know me better as CP the Doc. I keep a pretty low profile on all the platforms I make content for, so not many people know my real name is Caleb Probst. A lot of people who watch me don't know that we share a last name, so I really do appreciate you leading off with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you also mentioned already, you introduced me as a content creator, which is a pretty big thing I do. I've been making videos on YouTube and TikTok for a long time now, and I've definitely gained some pretty decent followings on both platforms, so me being a content creator is another big thing about me, but also something really big I have going on in my life right now is that I'm actually almost done with my first master's degree at UAB. I'm on pace to graduate with my first master's by the end of this month, April 26th, so I'm very excited for that. It's been a long, hard ride, but we're almost done with it.
Yeah, that's actually something I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah, your graduation's literally in 3 weeks or so. Like, I'm sure that's a surreal moment. Like, I know you've put a lot of hard work in. Yeah, talk a little bit more about your grad school journey.
Yeah, like you said, it's very surreal. Grad school, I'd say it's definitely a huge change of pace from undergrad, so even though undergrad had its challenges, I'd say it was definitely pretty tame. I'd say there was more busy work in undergrad, and in grad school, you're just expected to show up, know the material already very well. You're expected to do a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of research, and really, even though there's not as much busy work, there's so much other stuff you have to do outside of class. So even though a lot of the grad programs at our school are like 36 hours, which pales in comparison to the 120-hour bachelor's programs, there's so much more work you have to put in over the 2 years or the 1 year or however long the grad program is. So for me, my program is 2 years long, 36 hours. And even though 36 hours, like I said, is nothing compared to 120 to get a regular UAB degree, it's just so much work you got to do outside of class to actually get the degree and just master the material. That's why they call it a master's degree. So yeah, just really looking forward to being done with it, even though it has been an awesome ride.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. You will have a lot more expectations on you, a lot bigger of a weight on your shoulders. Yeah, but I'm glad you're almost done, and y'all know where I'll be on April 26th. Yeah, definitely got to go see your graduation. I'm definitely excited to see you walk across that stage.
I'm going to be pretty disappointed if you aren't there, because I was at your last graduation.
Yeah, very true. I graduated from my high school in Montgomery about 3 years ago. So, yeah, Caleb was there. I got to see him in the crowd as I was walking across that stage. It was an awesome moment for me, and I'm going to make sure that I don't miss such a special moment for you.
For sure. I appreciate that. And something I got to bring up real quick is that I haven't walked a stage for graduation since 2017, which is absolutely pathetic. In 2021, I graduated at the end of the summer semester at UAB, and graduation was canceled. In fall or spring of the same year, their graduation was held at Region Field or Legion Field.
Legion Field.
Yeah, graduation was held there at the end of the spring, yet summer graduation, when COVID wasn't as bad, was canceled. I got to just watch my name pop up on a computer screen on a YouTube live stream. Absolutely pitiful.
Yeah.
I haven't walked a stage in 7 years, so it's nice to finally have the chance to walk one again.
Yeah, COVID definitely ruined a lot of people's best moments or best times. I'm glad we're finally over that COVID hump, but yeah, I'll be honest, I would have been pissed. Like all of that work I did in high school just to see my name pop up for a couple of seconds on a screen. I know that would have made me mad, so I know that makes this graduation a lot more special for you.
Definitely, but I will say in 2021, at least I, took some nice grad photos and had the chance to make a little Instagram post and get a lot of likes and a lot of love from a lot of people. Plus, next to my name on the UAB graduation live stream, it did say summa cum laude, so I appreciate them recognizing my academic achievement at the very least.
Yeah, that's the least they could do with such a crappy graduation situation.
Facts. Terrible.
But,
Crappy's being generous.
Yeah, but I'm really excited for graduation, of course.
Same here.
Really excited to be there. It's around like 3 o'clock, you said?
I think it is 3 o'clock.
I can't even remember, but I'll definitely be there. But I think now is a good time to transition to what I actually did want to talk to you about today. Obviously, I mentioned and introduced you as a content creator, and on both YouTube and TikTok. And of course, I was there for the entire journey, like starting as like just making short YouTube videos, and then ending up streaming on 2K and ended up streaming 2K on YouTube. Like, what was that journey like for you, since I know you didn't get to 50K followers on YouTube and TikTok overnight?
For sure. Well, like you said, you've been there for the entire journey. So even before I started making content, you knew that I was a huge fan of basketball, loved playing basketball, played for years in high school, and I still play for fun today. Basketball is always going to be my favorite sport, always going to be one of my favorite sports, but probably number one. And of course, I've loved playing video games for years too, ever since our uncle bought me a PlayStation 2, ever since he got me a note that PlayStation 2 when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I think I've been pretty into video games ever since. I play a lot for fun, so basically having the chance to play 2K and make content for NBA 2K, it was like a combination of two of my favorite things, video games and of course my favorite sport, basketball. So getting into that definitely took a little while for me to see growth because 2K was so big at the time and there were so many people making content for it, and I was relatively unknown. So just learning how to edit my own videos and learning how to actually record my own videos with a capture card and streaming software and whatnot, it was definitely a long journey that obviously started in about 2018 or 19, but I'd say reached its peak in about 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask you, like, how did you stay so persistent during like those rough periods where, I mean, you were probably making some high quality content, but you weren't getting the results I'm sure you wanted out of it? How did you stay so strong through like those rough times where you didn't see much growth on your channel?
Well, staying persistent and consistent as a content creator who is making a lot of content and putting a lot of work in your content is definitely not easy. So I think this is pretty good advice for people who want to get into making content, people who aspire to start making content. Don't let the views, or don't let low views, rather, get to you. Just because you made a video and don't get the results you expect, that doesn't mean it's a bad quality product. And yeah, like I said, you shouldn't let low views or low likes or a lack of comments or a lack of anything like that just bring you down. Instead, what helped me continue making good content and continue just chasing after my goals was just setting a goal for myself to make every single video better than the last one, and just to be a better version of myself as a content creator than I was the last day. So if I do post a video that happens to get a lot less views than the previous one I posted, I mean, I can be satisfied knowing that this video I just posted, even though it didn't get as many views, is a better product, and that I've improved as a content creator through the making, editing, recording, posting of the video. So I'd say just continuing to put out content, even if you aren't getting very many views, is a huge part of just improving as a content creator and just not getting too down on yourself. So just consistent reps, put in a lot of work, a lot of time, And if you really do love it, then I think that's a pretty big motivator for you to keep on going with it. So that was a big motivator for me. Even when there were low views, low likes, or I didn't see the results I wanted, I knew I was still getting better and improving, largely out of, my love for doing it.
Yeah, that's actually something that I need to keep in mind as well, especially since I'm just starting as a content creator in this on this platform on YouTube. I definitely need to just make sure like my podcast gets better each and every episode, and I need to be more prepared for what's to come and what I want to talk about. So I definitely need to keep that in mind. I just need to consistently make each podcast better than the last one. I understand that I won't get the views that I want immediately, but I'm not thinking about my personal growth. That's not of importance or most important to me. I really just want to make the best content possible so I could inspire everyone watching. So I definitely need to keep that in mind, and I just need to let my love and my passion for doing this fuel me even through the tough times, just like it fueled you through your tough times, especially getting to where you are right now.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, if every single person was able to go from 100 to 200 to 300 to 500 views in their first 4 videos and then just keep on rising up from there, then everybody would have 1 million views. But, success and achieving success, it looks a lot more like this on a graph than it does like this, because you're going to have successes, you're going to have failures, you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times, but at the end of the day, just as long as you have a love for it, as long as you don't let the numbers get to your head, and as long as you just continue to, motivate yourself to keep on getting better, then I think you're going to be very well off as a content creator, and I personally think you're off to a great start.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it. I just need to stay positive. I got to do a better job at not getting down on the little things. I'm just going to continue to stay positive throughout all, despite all the miscues that I may potentially make. Like, I know I may make mistakes, I may stutter, but I'm just going to continue to stay positive, and I'm going to continue to just keep getting better each podcast and each and every product that I'm trying to create. I wanted to get better each and every time. So I'm definitely going to keep your advice in mind, because I definitely need it as a young content creator. Just starting out.
For sure. Just keep yourself motivated and you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not really worried about it. I'm just going to continue to take it one day at a time. I want to continue to talk about, I would call it a rise to stardom a little bit, but I really want to talk to you about your streams on YouTube, your 17, 18-hour streams that you would do sometimes. I really want to talk to you about that, since I know that's something that really made your platform start getting as big as it is now.
No, definitely. And live streams, that's something we haven't mentioned yet. Those were a pretty big facet of my content creation on YouTube. And I'd say those live streams of NBA 2K, I remember they started before COVID, but they started getting really big during COVID. Those live streams are really what helped launch me to a completely different level in the 2K community. And yeah, like you mentioned, those 17 and 18-hour streams I used to do used to really go crazy and really set me apart. I feel like those are just some of the most memorable, streams or moments, if you want to call them, that I ever had as a content creator. So, yeah, you brought back a lot of memories by bringing those up.
Oh, yeah. And I have a lot of memories. Just living or just being in the room next to you sometimes. I remember, during some of your streams, I'd go to sleep at, say, 10 o'clock, and I may wake up in the middle of the night and I hear you streaming still, and it's 3-4 hours later at 2 a.m. You really were grinding out those challenges on 2K, and it was inspiring. I'll be honest, it was really inspiring. I literally would tell myself some nights oh, wow, I literally could not be doing this. You had a stamina, and you had such a hunger and a drive to get through some of those challenges, and I mean the hard work really paid off. You got a lot of viewers coming in, especially from other countries as well, to watch your content.
No, for sure. And yeah, those live streams, what you just said about, how I could never see myself doing that, that's something that a lot of people in my chat were saying too. That's something I was getting a lot in my streams. People would just be blown away by how long I would stream for, but not just how long I would stream for, but also the energy I was able to keep up during my streams. These live streams, they're like a conversation, kind of like a podcast of their own, except for me, they were 17 or 18 hours long. Of course, I would definitely talk about the game, and there would be my 2K gameplay in the background since, remember, I was playing the game while I was streaming.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I was also doing my best to talk to every single person in the chat. So some days that would be hundreds, sometimes thousands of people just trying to talk to me in the chat. So it would really be conversational. I would be replying to people's questions. I would be replying to the stuff they say. And like you brought up, a lot of people from different countries all around the world, just so many people would come in and tune into the streams, and I'm happy to say that they were able to inspire a lot of people. A lot of people who turned on the live streams and watched them were actually playing the exact same games or challenges simultaneously while I was, but there were also plenty of people just watching for the gameplay, plenty of people just watching to listen to what I had to say. Some people who wouldn't really care about 2K at all, but just enjoyed my personality and enjoyed the advice I'd give and the things I'd say and just the vibe of the chat and the people who were a part of my community. So yeah, those streams were a great memory. I met a lot of great people through them. I got to know a lot of other great content creators in the community as well. And I also did get to just reach a level of endurance, a level of just pushing myself, even though it was playing a video game and talking and streaming. I was able to reach such different levels that I never saw myself achieving when I first started content creation. So I'd say those live streams really did play a huge part into my growth, because I remember when I first started live streaming, I had less than 1,000 subs, but I remember at the end of COVID, at the end of 2K20, I think mid-2020, I had about 3,000 subs, maybe 2,900, something close to 3,000. Then at the end of NBA 2K21, I ended up with about 15,000. At the end of 2K22, I ended up with about 33,000. Then by the time it was the end of 2K23, over 50,000 subs, and still climbing. So definitely come a long way since just doing live streams with 5 people watching for about 100 subscribers. Come a long way since then.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long journey, a long process. I know this is something you said earlier, but the way you were able to engage with your audience, the way you truly tried to talk to everybody in the chat, like I really do believe that's what made you stand out again as a content creator. Not only your endurance, your competitive stamina and nature, but also the way you were able to engage your audience and connect with them on a much more personal level than just playing video games.
For sure. A lot of content creators, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but a lot of content creators, they'll just play the games or they'll do the live streams and not really engage their chat. But I do think that just the personal level, personal relationships I had with my subscribers is really what, made me stand apart from the rest of the community and people who live stream 2K. It's what helped so many people just join my streams and talk to me. Like I said earlier, it really was like a mini podcast in a sense, because it was me talking to people, sharing things about myself. Other people would share things about themselves. Of course, we'd talk about basketball, a whole different variety of topics, just like you said you wanted to do earlier with this podcast. So honestly, I'd say that not only has 2K helped me gain just so many personal relationships and helped me just improve in so many ways that I never thought content creation would help me improve in, but it's actually also helped me in settings like this, talking without stuttering and just being able to deliver messages in a smooth way like this, even though I have stuttered here and there. I wasn't always talking this smoothly when I first started content creation. Some of those intros used to take forever because I just wouldn't be satisfied, or I'd be stuttering, or I just wouldn't be happy with how I sounded. So, like I said earlier, I've come a long way since just getting started.
Absolutely, and that's definitely where I'm trying to get with my podcast. I'm definitely trying to gain more confidence in my voice, and I hope to get to where you are where you are right now, like where you're not stuttering as much, where you speak loudly and clearly, like we can all understand what you're saying. I'm definitely trying to get to the point, and I hope with my podcast, not only can I inspire people, but I hope I can gain more confidence in myself and my voice and like what I bring to the table. So I'm definitely trying to, like we said earlier, improve with each podcast. But I hope to get to where you are, where you're much more confident in your voice and you're a much more clearer speaker than I am sometimes, for sure.
Hey, I believe in you, man. Like I said earlier, just putting in reps and improving with every single video, well, in your case, every single show, just improving with every single time you go out, that's a big key. And I know you have a love for this, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, very true.
I'd say you're on the right track, and I'd say you're off to a solid start. I also think you brought in a very good first guest, just saying.
Yeah, I feel like it couldn't get much better than this. Caleb's family. We've always had a close bond, a close relationship. So I thought it was only right to bring Caleb on. And like I said earlier, I'm glad we're able to make this happen as well.
No, definitely. In all seriousness, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah. From all the fights we've had as we were younger to our 1v1 basketball game that's on your channel. Yeah, we've really come a long way, and I felt like it was only right to bring you on. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
Glad I could be here once again.
So on to this next topic. I really want to talk about your faith journey and all of this. Like, I know you're talking about how it wasn't the easiest road to get to where you are right now as a content creator. I really want to talk about your faith in Jesus Christ within all of this, since I'm sure it hasn't been the easiest road getting to where you are right now.
Well, yeah, as a content creator, like I said earlier, my journey to success looked a lot more like this on a graph. Just success and failure, and eventual growth looked a lot more like that than it did like this, just a steady incline. And I'd say my journey as a Christian has been pretty similar to that. Now, you've known me for my entire life, so you know that we've been Christians basically from the start, basically from birth.
Yes,
we were just
absolutely.
Christians, and we were forced to go to church as kids. And even though we enjoyed going to church, it's not like we had a problem with it. So when I say forced, I don't mean forced in a bad way. But when you're a kid, your parents, they make you go to church. You can't just stay home from church while the rest of the family's there. So we had to go to church. And that is what changed for me when I first moved to Birmingham and started my undergraduate degree at UAB, because I was living on campus. I was living away from my family in Montgomery. I wasn't being held accountable by my own family to go to church. And all because of that, I kind of definitely just tapped out a little bit in my relationship with Christ. I definitely wasn't as close with God or as good of a Christian as I was when I was, going to church really consistently as a kid. And yeah, I'd say that's a problem for a lot of kids, a lot of, young adults who move away from their family and move to a new place and just don't really know what church to go to, or don't really have a community of people that forces them to go to church or holds them accountable as Christians. So I'd say that I definitely fell out a little bit with Christ. I definitely didn't have the best relationship with God for a little while there as I was first starting out at UAB. But I'd say over the last 4 or 5 years, my relationship with God is better than it's been in a long time. And just having people to hold you accountable, having people who also share your faith and beliefs, having people who, love you and are there for you and support you, that is definitely something that's really big and motivating for you as a Christian. So I'd say that, even though I definitely had a little bit of a rough patch when it came to my faith, a little bit of just a rough patch when it came to my relationship with God and everything, ever since about 2020 when COVID happened and I moved back in with the family before starting my grad degree at Birmingham, even before, moving back to Birmingham to finish my undergraduate degree, getting to be with family again, people who love me, and just getting to kind of revive my relationship with God and carry that over into, where I am today. That was absolutely huge for me, and I'd say that I wouldn't be as well off as I was right now if it wasn't for that rough patch that I had when I first moved to Birmingham, and I'd say in my first 3 years as a student at UAB, first 2.5 or 3 years.
Absolutely. And actually, there's a lot of things that I want to add on to what you were saying. But honestly, having people that hold you accountable is so important, especially as a Christian. Like, you really got to have the right people surrounding you, and you got to make sure you have the right people who care for you. And actually, you want to have the right people who want you to succeed in life. And I believe that's been really important in my faith journey as well, having the right people in my circle, giving my energy to the right people. And also, honestly, being with y'all back in Montgomery, being back home, that's given me so much, perspective, going to church with y'all back home on the weekends, where I'm not on campus or not at school. Honestly, that's really helped me. And yeah, I know it's so hard to see through the rough patches when you're actually going through them, but sometimes you need those rough patches to get to where you want to be in the future, and you just got to have the strength and have the patience to endure those rough patches. And I'm glad you were able to have the strength to get through it. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't hard when you were actually dealing with whatever you were going through, but I mean, you made it to where you are right now, and you seem pretty dang happy. So honestly, I don't think you are complaining about anything you went through at all.
For sure. can't complain. And just to link the content creation and faith aspects of my life, earlier I said if you're a content creator who's just starting out, you got to put in reps, you got to keep on releasing videos, you got to go through that trial and error process of just growing your channel and improving yourself as a content creator. I'd say the exact same things go into being a Christian, because I mean, you can go to church every Sunday, but you don't really improve as a Christian. You don't really improve as a man of Christ unless you're, actively reading the Bible, engaging in small groups, doing devotionals, and just doing things to exercise your faith. It's the same thing for being an athlete. You don't improve your jump shot by never shooting jumpers. You improve your jump shot by getting into an empty basketball gym and just shooting hundreds of shots and getting a bunch of reps in. It's the same thing for sports. It's the same thing, with speaking. It applies to a lot of different aspects of life, and I feel like Christianity or religion as a whole, I feel like that's no exception.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly like what you added on about, you can't expect your faith to grow if you're only going to church on Sundays. I've actually realized that through my faith. And I mean, I feel like so many people and so many Christians, I believe they get it twisted with this. They pray for stronger faith. They pray for having more confidence in themselves, but they aren't willing to go through those tests of their confidence and their faith. They want the final result immediately. You know what I mean? That's
Exactly.
what I believe a lot of Christians get twisted with prayer and with their own religion. Like, God's not going to give you what you want immediately. He's going to put you through those tests and through those battles to truly grow your faith, develop your confidence, develop your patience in certain situations. That's what I believe so many people get confused as Christians and as men and women of God and of Christ. Like, you really got to be strong, and you got to let God test you through those difficult situations. Like I said, it's easier to see the end of the tunnel or the light at the end of the tunnel while you're actually going through it. But I mean, you just got to trust that God's going to get you through it, and God's going to bring it all together sooner rather than later.
For sure. These things don't happen overnight.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you just got to have patience. I mean, you can't expect the final result immediately. I have this talk with my roommate every once in a while, but you got to have oven expectations over microwave expectations. You can't expect a great product, something amazing, something so special to be made in the microwave. You know what I mean? You got to be willing to let it bake, let it cook for a little bit, and you got to really just have that patience through any struggle, through any difficulty that you're going through in life.
It takes 30 seconds in the microwave to heat up a Lunchables pizza, but it takes at least 15 minutes in the oven to heat up a really good, high-quality pizza like DiGiorno.
I like the DiGiorno plug in there. Not the biggest fan of DiGiorno.
Neither am I, but they're the first, oven pizza brand that's not, like Pizza Hut or Papa John's or Domino's that came to mind. Isn't there also Tony's? I'm trying to think of other pizza brands.
Hunt Brothers?
Hunt Brothers is gas station pizza. That's like Hungry Howie's. Gas station pizza is not bad, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to think of the oven pizza brands.
Yeah, definitely not Hunt Brothers, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely... sorry, first one that came to mind, guys, but yeah, let's just disregard that one. Yeah, I mean, thank you for giving that, literal example. I hope y'all could understand already, but yeah, that's literally what I mean. To create and to bring out a truly finished and truly great product, you got to have the patience to get through those storms and get through those battles, and you got to have the patience to wait for what's to come. I mean,
Sure.
You just got to let God test you. I mean, obviously it's going to be hard, but you just got to let God test you and trust what God's cooking up in your life.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, so I honestly think now is a good time to wrap up this first episode. Caleb, do you have any final words, or actually, let's not say final words, but do you have anything else to say to the audience, maybe to give them a quick little inspiration for their week and for the rest of their day?
Well, I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've said in this podcast can not only be, taken in and applied if you're a Christian or a content creator or an athlete, but there's just so many other areas in life where the things I've said apply. hard work and just putting in reps and just not getting too down on yourself when you don't get the results you want. That applies to so many different things. So if you're a young content creator watching this, I'd say that's definitely something you should keep in mind. And if you're a Christian, I'd say just remember to keep on exercising your faith. Remember to keep on doing stuff to keep on growing your faith. Just like how, the harder you lift weights, the more often you lift weights, the stronger you get. Mm-hmm. The more often you run, then you get faster, you get in better shape, you lose weight. So just remember that everything that you put in, when it comes to the work you put in, it yields results. So don't expect things to happen overnight, especially when it's a long process. And yeah, just remember that, people love you. Go look for people who love you and just inspire you to keep on chasing what you want, whether that's as a content creator or as a Christian or as a student or as an athlete. So relationships are key, hard work is key, and yeah, no matter how bad things look, just know that you can dig yourself out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly think that's some great advice to end this podcast on. Yeah, you can't expect your results to happen overnight. You got to trust for results at the end of the day, trust for results you put in, and just got to continue to endure and got to continue to fight like every single day. Every day I call, or how should I say this? I consider every day as a battle. Like, you have your own struggles that you're going through. You have your own things to deal with. But at the end of the day, you just got to trust for work you got to put in. And you got to trust and have confidence in yourself that you're going to get through the storm and that you're going to get to the next day no matter how difficult your circumstance is.
I agree with that. And yeah, with you bringing that up, I think it's time for me to bring up a great point, something I love to tell people, something I love to remember, something that you, me, and every single person watching has in common is that we've never failed to make it through a bad day. So keep that in mind. You've made it through every single bad day that you've ever had. You thought you wouldn't make it, but you did, and you're still living, you're still kicking. So keep on doing what you're doing, and we appreciate you for tuning in to this first episode today.
Yes, absolutely. And Caleb, I thank you for coming on today. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure to be here. Once again, one more time, since I've said it so many times, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and like I said a couple times, I'm about to say it again. I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
Me too.
And I believe now is a good time to wrap everything up. I want to thank all of you who are watching and who have made it this far in the podcast. I hope you all like this video and subscribe if y'all haven't already. If y'all want to stay up to date with podcast news, future guests, and what topics we're going to be talking about, y'all should give the podcast Instagram page a follow at _greater-than-me_. The link will be in my bio below. So I thank you, Caleb, for hopping on this podcast again, and stay up to date with future episodes by following the Instagram page, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.